here with the Scranton Fringe Festival doing election 2020 coverage. We're doing exit poll interviews, and today we are interviewing a bunch of people. I just had an interview with the amazing Amber Viola, and I have another really wonderful guest with me today. I have Alex Lotorto, who is a medical labor union representative, and I'm very honored that he's here in the northeastern Pennsylvania area. I'm honored that he's here chatting with me today. So again, this is another one of those kind of behind-the-scenes videos. We're doing a formal recorded interview, but you at HAPS get to tune in and watch the coverage live from your homes. You get to eat your popcorn and have a Snickers bar for me because I'm on a diet. I will be thinking about it the entire interview. So enjoy the interview. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in. I have the amazing Simone on camera, and she will be monitoring the comments to see if we can maybe get a question or two in from you guys. So that said, don't mind. I'm going to be doing some of the kind of formal production performances that you'll see. I'll be repeating a few things, but feel free to enjoy the stream, and we're going to get going right now. We're ready? Here we go. Hi kids, it's Pissi Miles again here with the Scranton Fringe Festival in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I am reporting live on Election Day 2020. I am so honored to be interviewing another amazing guest. We have Alex Lotorto, who is a medical labor union representative here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Alex, hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Could be. I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous? Because of the election?
I'm nervous. One of our nurses, I represent 900 nurses in the area. One of our nurses went to vote today, and they had never sent her mail-in ballot, so she had to vote provisionally with a provisional ballot. It was already marked for Trump. And they said they found a stack of provisional ballots that were already marked for Trump, and we sent it to the Democratic Party's hotline, and their attorneys are looking into it. But if people didn't fill out their mail-in ballot and send it in,
would they have been sent in marked for Trump?
Well, that's the question. If there's a stack of provisional ballots sitting there, and this is Pittston Library in Luzerne County had the issue, and how many other polling places have that issue? There's a lot of poll watchers out today. I hosted one at my house last night, and we're keeping an eye on election integrity. And at this point, I'm also nervous because I don't know where we'll be headed politically, and I'm not sure. We're either going to continue to be in this new normal, or we're going to go back to the old normal that brought us this new normal, and we have to work on either candidate who gets elected to either oppose the bad policies or support the good ones.
Mm-hmm. Or even to, whichever side you're on. My takeaway is this. I think everyone is nervous, whether you're left-leaning or right-leaning, or you're more in the center, or you're on the extreme outer fringe. I think everyone gets nervous, and I think the important thing to remember is that it's not like a football game. We don't have teams. We're all on the same team. So the important thing to try to remember, and it's something that I keep trying to remind myself of, is that no matter who wins, there's going to be demands that have to be made of that person. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully we can come together as a country to make demands of that person, no matter who it is, to kind of find some level of unity after all of this. We've all faced a very stressful election cycle this time around. I think every election it seems to get a little bit more hectic. And I'm curious, what have you been doing to kind of cope with the stress of the election?
So I've been involved as a labor union rep. I represent nurses that are experiencing compassion fatigue and existential dread every day they go to work. We have a spike in COVID cases. So I have that dread and that experience with them. And then I also, politically, I feel very few of the issues that could, inspire me the most are on the ballot this year. I feel like we had a immigration raid in my neighborhood in Southside Scranton in February. And so that was in December. They took a woman who was here with a green card and held her at her door to make her unlock her deadbolt while the children hold the deadbolt closed. They staged from a hotel here downtown that at any given morning at 7 a.m. they could be sweeping the neighborhood for someone. So it's very scary for the immigrant community in my neighborhood. And I feel like Joe Biden hasn't made a commitment to stop deportations and those kinds of raids. There's some things that he will do better for immigrants, but I worry that these ICE thugs will keep sweeping neighborhoods for 4 years if he's president, and we have to do a lot to monitor that and speak out against that. They came to the hospital. They took. So we have a lot. We don't have great paying jobs in Scranton because a lot of them went overseas. And if you look back on Joe Biden's career, he supported from the very beginning what was called the multi-fiber agreement, was when all the textiles left the United States. I was a delegate for Bernie Sanders. Our office was in a closed textile mill that left because Joe Biden voted for a free trade agreement in the 70s that forced those jobs overseas. And I think we have to make sure he doesn't go back on his word with the Trans-Pacific Partnership and some of these deals that were being made under the Obama administration that were very bad for workers. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm a labor union person, and I think that he'll be somewhat better for unions, but there's a long way to go to rebuild the working class in the corners of America that have been neglected for so long. And his 40-year career, it'll take a lot for me to trust him. And that's why I'm a part of my union. That's why I join social movement organizations that demand healthcare as a human right, not just a public option that's too expensive for a lot of people to purchase. I think when he's designing his healthcare policy, we need to be careful that he's not just cementing the health insurance companies in place, that there's a path to getting to single-payer health care. So those are some of the issues that I really care about. I'm an environmentalist. I really care about rural Pennsylvania, where I grew up. I'm worried that fracking might expand or continue to expand into the Delaware River Basin.
Can you talk about some of your concerns with respect to fracking? For anyone who's watching or listening, can you explain a little bit about fracking and the effect that it has on the environment?
Sure. So deep under Pennsylvania, there's a rock formation called Marcellus Shale. There's a Marcellus, New York. It's named because the rock pops out there. Mm-hmm. It's 10,000 feet underground. They drill down straight, and then they turn horizontal, and they drill into the shale layer. And then they use explosives and high-pressure water mixed with chemicals to force little gas bubbles to come to the surface. And what they get is methane, which powers all the new power plants that were built in the last 10 years, mostly under Obama, some under Trump, that Biden proposes will power in place of coal. And that's why he's really pushing, and the Obama administration really pushed for gas. It also, that methane is very valuable overseas, so there's a lot of export terminals. There's one proposed in Philadelphia, just across the river, on the Jersey side. If we start exporting gas, Pennsylvania has 14,000 wells drilled, about 1,000 wells per year, and it's crowding these rural counties that had beautiful family farms for 150 years and generations of local agriculture and tourism and recreation that was the foundation of their economy. Agriculture's been failing, and fracking's been filling in the economic vacuum. And a lot of families have taken jobs with the industry. So we need to take care of those workers as well. And that's something I think the Obama administration didn't emphasize enough. They did with some coal workers in Appalachia, but we need to do the same for anyone who's taken these jobs, and we need to stop fracking. We don't have the time for climate change to recover from the amount of gas that's already been developed, and I think if we continue to do that, it's going to push us over a climate cliff, and Pennsylvania will be transformed into like an industrial park in a lot of places, like a big, vast, toxic place. And when the wells crack, the cement casing, when they crack, they contaminate people's water. Mm-hmm. So on the ground zero, there's families in Dimmock, Pennsylvania, very good friends of mine who've lost their water. They need water pipelines to their homes that aren't going to be built. There's no plan to build them. That also affects our agriculture, our dairy industry, which has been suffering And something needs to be done about that. I think that's where Democrats have been falling short, is looking at that's pretty simple solutions to support small farms in rural communities in the area, and that's why you see so much red on the map.
So what would you like to see in an ideal situation as a form of addressing not only the environmental issues that we're facing, but also the labor issues that we're facing? Because as a labor representative, I'm sure that these are issues that you face all the time.
If I had a magic wand, I would. So there, when the Pittsburgh Still Mills closed, like 30, 40 years ago, and still we're losing manufacturing. There's a program, if you lose your job in America and it goes overseas, you get trade readjustment allowance. And it's a boring concept, but basically you get 2 years of unemployment, free college or retraining into a different trade, and free relocation anywhere in the country you can find a job. And the federal government, the Department of Labor, gives you that. And it's been used for coal plant closures. It's been used in Canonsburg, PA, and up in the Buffalo area, Tonawanda. Those workers were then trained to get their CDL and be a UPS driver, or be a nurse or a nurse's aide, or do other trades like green energy that we desperately need to invest in. And I would expand trade readjustment allowance for folks that are going to suffer, and their wages need to be matched. So like we did with unemployment, with the expanded unemployment in the pandemic, we should do that for energy sector workers, regardless of how long it takes, because clean energy is coming. So they're going to be out of work. We need to have a program for them. And it wouldn't have been hard. I think it was definitely part of the Green New Deal, but Biden's been walking back from supporting that, and that's disappointing. So the next 4 years, if he's president, we have a lot of work to do with him on both supporting the workers and getting to the point where we don't have fracking. And I don't think he's quite there yet.
So you mentioned being a delegate for Bernie Sanders. Was that in this election cycle or in 2016?
I was one of 6 delegates that were on the ballot for Bernie. We worked very hard. Biden was only able to find 4 people to be on the ballot for him. And it was really scary. And it's been scary because the campaign hasn't ramped up until the very end again. And I think Bernie would have been sweeping the floor with Trump at this point. I'm surprised it's so close. I think Biden should be hitting home runs every day with Trump, but the polls keep tightening instead of Biden going up. And I think it has a lot to do with people they don't want to return to the old normal, and they want to see pretty revolutionary change. People are anti-establishment. Scranton, our mayor just started serving a 7-year prison sentence, the last mayor we just had. So we don't have a lot of trust in politicians.
I was just about to say, so what you're saying is politics in Scranton are doing just fine.
I mean, every day it's like somebody went to jail. The ex-superintendent got rounded up recently for lead in the schools that they covered up in the school, elementary school water fountains and stuff. We need someone who delivers on promises. Scranton hasn't changed much since Joe Biden left, and that's disappointing because he's been in power. And Hillary claims time here. Bob Casey, our senators from here, and we're still seeing a very stagnant economy here. A lot of low-paying jobs. We get a lot of warehouse jobs. We have a big landfill, for New York City's garbage, but it's not promising for people who want to live here and stay here.
And you are local to Scranton. You live in the city.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you have a lot of experience with the vast diversity of this little city. Mm-hmm. What do you think it is about this city that makes it such a community? What makes you want to stay here?
I love Scranton because it's been through a lot. It's had a really hard time since coal ended in the 50s. People have been struggling since then, and I've been struggling in my life. People have really struggled in my family and people around me, and it feels like you're like, it's like rooting for the New York Jets. Like they're struggling, you're struggling. It's a good, it's like the city's in solidarity with you, at the same time. And people have some hopes, but also I love the snarkiness and like the cynicism, because it's healthy to be critical.
Yeah, a healthy amount of cynicism, I think, is good for a person. Take it from me.
I love our new mayor.
Do you?
Yeah, she's really great.
I'm very eager to meet her. I'm going to be meeting with her later today to talk with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let her know that you have good things to say.
Volunteer for her. She's great. Yeah.
I do want to talk about one more thing before we wrap up. I have addressed this many times today. We are, of course, broadcasting on HAPS at the moment, and we are recording for Scranton Fringe Festival. I have asked this question of everyone all day, and you're not going to get any, you're not going to be treated any differently from anyone else, Alex. This is a question that has been very important to people, and that is very important to me as a sizable person. Is it a hoagie? Is it a sub? Is it a hero?
It's a hoagie.
Oh, God.
It's a hoagie.
I was starting to like Scranton so much. I really did enjoy it here. And look what you've done. My goodness. You let in one Sheets, and all of a sudden, you can't get rid of the
They have
hoagie.
drive-through. You can get toilet paper.
There's
at
a
the
drive-through Sheets?
You can drive through Sheets and get toilet paper. I had to do that in the beginning.
I can't think of a situation that would bring me less joy.
It was an awkward conversation because they were looking at you and they're like, "Did you run out yesterday?"
Because you were here yesterday, Alex. We gave you 24 rolls of toilet paper yesterday, Alex. And you're like, "Well, I love the Mediterranean garden. What can I say?"
So.
Alex, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you sharing
thank you so much.
some of your more progressive ideals with me. It's been so interesting getting to hear where everyone comes from, because we have people who skew more to the right and people who skew more to the left. And I think it's so great that we get to have conversations where all of these ideas are kind of thrown into the pot and they all get to stir around a little bit.
And
so
thank you for bringing joy to Scranton. It's like always cloudy, and the sun came out today. Right here.
Yeah, that must be it. The things I bring to Scranton are joy and restraining orders. This is Alex Lotorto. I can't say how much I appreciate Alex joining us. He is a medical labor representative here in Scranton, and I appreciate you joining us.